I loved Power Club.
Come with me if you want to live.
I loved Power Club.
No time for time travel.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the No Time for Time Travel podcast for nerds by nerds. On this episode, Quoc and I are actually interviewing the CEO of Creative Arcades, and we'll cut that into this episode in a little bit, but just a little bit of an intro. Creative Arcades is a company, they specialize in developing like arcade machines for purchase, and they're based over here in SoCal, and the CEO is Brian Horowitz. And our discussion is just going to be a really quick interview about him and about the company and what they do. So, word from our Zencastr sponsor, and then we'll start the episode. Taking a little break here to talk to you guys about Zencastr. And on this podcast, we use Zencastr to record our podcast. What I love about Zencastr is it's a local recording that gets uploaded to the cloud so that each person recording gets their own high quality recording. So by the end of it, I get individual recordings from each person so that I can edit it together pretty easily. You basically go onto Zencastr, create a room, and then everyone joins, and then recording starts and ends just as simple as that. It's also an all-in-one solution, so you can actually host and publish your podcast straight from Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use my code NOTIMEFORTIMETRAVEL, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experience as I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. All right, so we are joined here today. So Quoc and I are joined here today with Brian, who's the CEO of Creative Arcades. So, thanks so much for being on the podcast, Brian. How are you doing?
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I look forward to be able to talk about Creative Arcades and what we do and our uniqueness, and kind of answer questions you guys might have about arcades and V-pins and our racing system.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool to get to talk to someone that is so involved in making these arcade experiences. And we do have some listener questions as well that submitted to us before this podcast. So we'll get to talking about that in a bit. But just before we talk all about that, let's talk about you. Actually, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah. So I've been manufacturing, importing for about 35 years. I actually started with an aftermarket automotive company called APC American Products. We were the guys involved with all the sport compact, Fast and Furious, Pin My Ride, and drifting. So for us, we're a very unique company, and I sold that company off in 2004. It was a dream come true, but for me, it was a time to venture off to a different company, and I started this company basically more making car shell, tailgating, and sporting goods products. And 13 years ago, Anheuser-Busch Budweiser came to us. We were making stuff for them and says, "Hey, can you source arcades? We want to offer as giveaways for our bars." And I sourced arcades for them, and next thing I knew, I was in the arcade business. So I'm also a vet, and I have an amazing team here of designers, coders, and we were able to build a lot of custom stuff. We just got done doing Puma's flagship stores in Las Vegas, and we've done a bunch of Chase Sapphire lounges at airports all over the U.S., and we've done a lot of celebrities like Steven Spielberg and Zach Penn and Post Malone. So it's some exciting opportunities, and for us, we enjoy our customers. Our customers are part of our relationship because we get feedback and we get opportunity. And, in this world, things are tough for a lot of people. So we're very grateful of giving opportunities to sell our products.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a quite a big shift from automotive to games.
Oh, big time. I actually did Mattel Hot Wheel racers for them. So I got a little bit of my automotive background, but it's kind of funny. But yeah, it's different. But a lot of these guys with these garages, they have customers waiting in their lobbies, and they put arcades in there and they charge them, and it's a good revenue stream for them. But it's also, makes people don't mind hanging out in the lobby while they wait for the car to get fixed.
Oh, that's cool. Is that why you kind of just pivoted and kept on going with the video game with the arcade? industry at the minute?
Well, honestly, more and more opportunities came to us. We were also doing state fairs. So we were actually setting booths up like in Minnesota and Iowa and Orange County, arcade booths and sell arcades at the fairs. And then COVID happened and I more pivoted to online, and we do quite a bit of wholesale, and we work with designers and dental offices and rental homes, and we just kept getting more and more opportunities, and our business is based off of opportunities. We know how to react to it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess with everything, it just comes with luck and opportunity.
So like I know you've been in automotive and you switched over to like here with the opportunity, and I was just wondering from your own like personal background too, like were you like a big gamer before you did this, or did this kind of just like come about later?
I was always some type of gamer. I played, at the liquor store when I go get done with my elementary school. I go over there and play, Galaga and Galactica were my games. So I always played it. I had my own Pong machine at home that left the marks on my TV. So, definitely there, I always loved the passion of arcade games, but I've never been like an online gamer. I'm more the traditional, I'm 60 years old now, and, I want to go to a restaurant and play it, or hotels, and, or have it in my house. I traded a guy in Big Bear Arcade for some rental. We did some artwork with him. And I have 2 younger children, and all they wanted to do the whole time was play the arcade. And I'm going, we could do that at home, but they loved it. And it was just really cool to see that.
That's an interesting thing that you just said right there, is about your young children wanting to play at the arcades. I have 2 kids myself, and I'm in that mentality of like, and this kind of goes into one of the listener questions, but basically one of our listeners, Nan, he's asking, are arcades dying? And that's one thing that I'm seeing, that the really big arcades we see are like, the round ones, the Dave and Buster's and things like that. But those like old school, like alleyway arcades, they're not, I haven't seen a lot around. So how do you kind of see that where like that market doesn't seem like it's expanding, but you're in the market? So I don't know. That's why I'm asking. And so how is that going to be targeting towards like, the kids of the generation today?
So there's a lot of targets we have. So one, believe it or not, we're getting a lot of dental office business. We also have a lot of people that have rental homes, and they want to be able to bring their families to the rental homes. So they buy an arcade or put an arcade program in their house to be able to, get the family to want to book the listing. So those are good opportunities. A lot of celebrities, want arcades, and, they put it on their social media, and people ask, where did you get it? Like Post Malone, he has millions of followers, and he goes, hey, I get it from the guys at Creative Arcade, or Steven Spielberg. So for us, we're very fortunate. We've had a great, celebrity exposure, athletes. We don't do a good job on social media. We just don't have the strength there. We're pretty good on our website and Google advertising, but our social media is driven by our customers. A lot of our customers have created their own YouTube videos and reposted them, and that's exciting for us. And the thing for us is we listen to our customers. We listen to their feedback, and it's nice when a customer is involved in the project. There's only so much we could do, but there's a lot of things we can do, and it's a great opportunity.
That's really cool. So you do involve the customer, which is great. So I guess like one of the other questions that's kind of tied into it from David J. Tate. He's from the Super Best Friend Video Game Sleepover. He has a question about like, why do you think there's such an active market for at-home arcade cabinets, but there aren't like many new 80s style arcades popping up around the country? And I think like that's a good question regarding like how you're seeing the market with your customers specifically, because you're involved with the customers building those arcade systems like within like how they want it to be. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, so it's a couple of different things. So one, there's a lot of restaurants popping up and hotels, like we do all the Marriott's, putting classic arcades into their facilities because it's bringing more family vibe, and it's also driving more revenue, especially alcohol revenue for them. So they're getting the kids playing the machines, and they're getting the parents sitting there having a beer, eating some food, and having conversation. Any cruise lines. And then people at home, the reason why they want arcades is because they grew up in the 80s and they want their kids to experience it, but they want their kids to get off their cell phone and have a social environment. The problem with these days is the kids don't talk to each other. They text or they chat. But you get them on an arcade, they're playing a 4-player TR2 and they're playing Mario Kart and they're talking with each other and having a good time. And, it's awesome, but they're off their cell phone. And that's real important to a lot of parents. I had this one lady that was really neat philosophy. She actually put her machine to charge and she would give her kids, if they did their homework or did something good, she'd give them 50 cents and they would play a game and that was their reward. And they really wanted to do it because they wanted to play arcades, And then, yeah, that's cool. And then I had a grandma. She brought arcades, so she would be the favorite grandma. She wants the kids to want to come to her house. So she became the favorite grandma. So I thought that was really cool.
Wow, that's kind of that's really cool. That's kind of awesome. Well, I mean, I guess how is that? What is it like in your house with your 2 kids and everything? Do you, being like the owner of having built your own arcade and whatnot, do you like play with your games, play games with in your arcade with your kids often, or how much time do you even have to play games?
I have 4 kids, but the 2 that are home are younger. So we spent quite a bit of time playing arcades. But my one big mistake is I have a man cave garage. In California, we don't have basements and game rooms, or, your wife controls all that stuff in the house. So I have a garage with a bunch of games in there, and I leave my side door open, and my neighbors are all invited to come and play. So last Saturday, my wife and I, we had date night. We come home about 8:45, 9 o'clock and open our garage, and half my neighborhood's in our garage having a good time. They brought pizza and they're playing my arcades, and they filled the refrigerator up and all that there. And my wife's going, oh my God, are they ever going to leave? So I created my own monsters, but it's nice because everybody in my neighborhood, they bring their kids in, or, when they're having a party, the grandfather will come over and hang out and talk about what he played in the 80s, so it's fun. But arcades just brings a good environment, in this world these days, there's a lot of tough things out there, and it's nice to see something that's a fun excitement. But like for me, I talk about when I got high score on Galaga, first time I paid, I was doing Pong as a kid, and, we didn't really have arcades at that point, and then how everything kept going up, and now you have Xboxes and PlayStations and, a lot of online gamers. So there's so many worlds that's changing. It's amazing. But for me, the history of arcades, you go to Las Vegas, you got the pinball museum up in Vegas, and also one in Oregon. So it's pretty cool to see, the very first pinball made. It was like pins, and they gambled. It was more of a gambling game than a pinball game.
Yeah, definitely. I think this kind of ties into the next question from one of our listeners, Adam Redding. Talking about you mentioned a lot about like nostalgia. So Adam asked, like, so gamers of certain age have a tons of nostalgia for going to like the arcades, and by extension the physical arcade cabinets. How does like Creative Arcades see that moving forward with the younger generations of players?
They like nostalgia, so they want to go back more to the older school look. So we're like, when we're doing wraps, we're doing more of the old retro style wraps, and it's cool because you're bringing old school back. And there's stories behind it, but a lot of these kids are knowledgeable of how arcades started. They played it on their cell phone for all these years, and having a real physical one is a big deal because you know why? They're always trying to bling it out. They're trying to add more stuff to it. I have a guy that has one of our racers, and he has a butt kicker in it, has our Logitech steering wheel in it, but he's put LEDs in it. He put these flashing lights on the back, so it's flashing and blinging when he's playing it. And when he does like Tokyo Drift, aside from the vibration on it, he actually put an extra subwoofer. He put a surround sound. So you really think you're in a car racing because he's done all these add-ons. And that's what, like, you guys being young, that's what you guys are bringing to the retro world, is being upscaling and taking the new technology to the retro, keeping the retro look, but bringing a lot more bling and accessories and fun to the machines.
Oh yeah, I definitely see that as like a general thing with games and with games overall. Like a lot of like even new games from like the Xbox or PlayStation or whatnot, they still they still go into the retro style of like pixel art and whatnot, and they try to just modernize it as much as they can with the technology. I feel it's the same with kind of like the arcade that you just mentioned now. Like they take the old games, old arcade games, and old retro games, and they just modify it with like the new technology that wasn't as accessible as back then when we're younger, where we just have like quarters and dollars just to play the arcade, not so much financial aids to do what we want to do with like the arcade to pimp it out essentially.
Yeah, it's cool because we get these people calling us and giving us ideas on what they want and how they want to add more things, or a lot of these guys do their own YouTube videos and they'll show things that they've done to improve, like Reddit. There's all these chat rooms about our products and how people like improved and done things that I don't want to know about, but it's pretty awesome.
So now I'm kind of curious, what was like the most memorable or like craziest setup that you had to do?
So this one guy, this is how crazy it is. He bought our V pen. I actually have two guys that have pretty good stories. One guy bought a V pen system. He went to Australia and bought their goggle software system. He spent like $6,000 for software. It only plays like 5 of the pinball games, and you can wear your virtual goggles. And he's playing. He actually sent us a copy, and you could play Jaws, and Jaws is coming out when you hear the dun 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 dun, and it's coming out to get you, and it's just freaking awesome, or Indiana Jones, So I mean, him to go that extra mile is pretty amazing. And then I've had customers. I had one lady. She had an older house. She got a racing system, and the machine would not fit through the door. And the white glove company's there. She goes in her garage and gets a hatchet and starts hatching the door hole to make it bigger so it fits. This lady, she's 5'4", taking a hatchet like a crazy person, making the opening so she could get her racers in. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Was it like linked racers or just like one racer?
Yeah, link racers. So she had to bring 2 down there.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Man, it's so crazy. So like, would you be involved in shipping these things and helping them, or is this more of like they bring it into their homes themselves?
So one, we deliver mostly to the curb, but we do have white glove delivery. It's an upcharge. But what happens is when we do white glove, a lot of times these customers don't tell us all the details. We had a guy in Tahoe. He had a tree house, a real tree house, 6 stories high, that he was putting his arcades in. And, thank God it was actually my employees that were up there doing the delivery, so they were cool to bring it up. But it was 6 floors high, and it was crazy. We had one customer, he was so into it that he actually basically hired a crane, and the crane had to bring it up to the 3rd floor. But people, some people know what's involved, and some people are still, they kind of know, they kind of don't know, so they don't tell us the whole details. So it's like a surprise when we get there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I say every time.
I'm curious about like the tree house setup, because how do you guys bring it up? Is it like through
it was a
ladder?
No, it was stairs. We had to go round and round and round.
Oh,
it
wow.
happened to be a 4-player slim, so it wasn't so crazy. But we got out there. Well, they were tired, that's for sure. But the guy was cool. He tipped them and took care of them.
Yeah, but that's still pretty crazy. And like, I guess this is a little bit more about like what you're selling now, but like for the typical let's say it's a typical family with kids, and they just want to have some kind of like arcade setup in the house. What do you think is the most popular when you sold to that type of clientele, or what do you recommend?
So most people with kids, we recommend the 4-player slim. It depends on their price point. For the 4-player slim, you could go from 3,500 games to 13,000 games. You could add guns to it. But what's cool is you could actually play 4 players. So, you could do from your Mario Kart to your NFL Blitz, NBA Jam. You got Mortal Kombat, but you got a lot of games that are 4-player capacity. And then you have the 2-player games, the old classics, and, just a big broad of games. So it's nice. We've had a lot of people that, hey, I'm having my kid's birthday party over. What games do you recommend? And they can create favorites. So you can see your son's Joe. Joe can have his favorites game, and his daughter Mary can have her favorites game. And this is a simple, key button, and you hit it, and those are your favorites, and easy to navigate. I mean, the system's not hard to navigate, but there's 10,000 games there, and you want to make it as easy as possible.
That's cool. Yeah, thanks for providing that suggestion. And I think I think it's pretty interesting. Like I've been browsing the website for Creative Arcades that you guys have so many different options. Like even I'm a big claw machine guy, so even seeing like claw machine as an option, it's pretty cool because I don't think there's many places or businesses that do actually offer that to purchase.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I did was really cool. White Claw had me make claw machines for Coachella, so people could actually get claws at the out of the machine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they're at Coachella, and they have all our claw machines there with white claw in it, and they're able to grab the cans and bring it out of the machine. It was really cool.
It's like it's like a little bit of a dad joke right there too, right? With the claw machine for White Claw. But that's pretty fun. And I'm looking at, just what I'm interested in like learning more about is like, the linked racers, right?
Yes.
How often do you actually sell them? They seem to be a very niche, but then it feels like the niche would be a very passionate group of people,
Link racers are a huge success for us. We sell a couple a day, and we offer 3 different style of link racers. You could do an Xbox. So an Xbox is basically putting an Xbox system in it. We'll put force feedback. We'll put a butt kicker. We'll do all the bling, but you could play other people in other areas with the Xbox, and then you also get the Xbox games. Same thing with the PlayStation. Or you go to our 205, and you go to our 205 system, there's about 40% of the games that are linkable, and you have all the old school games in there. So it just depends on what they're looking for and, what they want to spend.
I see. And then like, I know you mentioned earlier that you can add in guns for some of the arcade cabinets. Do you have like the specifically just the shooter arcade cabinets?
So we are multi-cades. They have about 30% shooting games already included. So they'll have like House of the Dead, and they'll have a Duck Hunter. They'll have a little bit of everything in it. So that works out really well.
Oh, okay. In the past, like back in the 90s and stuff, the technology used for that was using like the CRT screen. So how has that been kind of updated with like the current screens that we have today? I was just curious about the technology piece. For the shooter games, right? Like in the past, you used CRTs like back in the 90s and stuff. So how has that technology kind of been improved to address like what kind of screens we use today?
Yeah, so we use LG screens. They're gamer screens, and then we use our own light guns that we actually designed to have recoil in them, so they actually have a kick. They're self-calibrating, and you're able to reload them by just tilting the gun back and forth. And then there's guns out there, in my opinion, are cheesy, and there's guns out there that are really fun. These are really fun because you're getting the real experience of the kick. You're getting the real experience of the accuracy, that the calibration is right on point. We have 4 readers around the screen, so there's no blind spots. That's a big problem with a lot of systems out there, but you get that right effect that you can play it. We're also working on a new gun, pistol that has a slider in the front. So when you reload it, you're cocking it in the front, similar to that you would do on a rifle, but this is on a pistol, and it's legit. We'll have that out in December. That'll be one of our top releases. So you're getting ahead of everybody else about our new gun.
Oh, that's kind of awesome. So I guess I'm kind of curious about like, because you make your own arcades and whatnot, or custom make them and everything. You were mentioning earlier about like Xbox and PS5. So is that you take the other person, or like the customer's Xbox and PS5 and you set it up, or is it you provide the Xbox and PS5?
We could do either way. We will provide it, or we could take somebody if they have an existing Xbox. It'll save them some money, and we can pop it in our system.
Oh, that's really awesome. I'm kind of also, I saw on your website as well, there's like boxing arcades as well,
Yes.
as a boxing machine. That's really cool. That's very different from all the other ones as well. Do you have other like physical activity machines or that's coming up, or?
Well, we have like basketball and stuff, but see, we have on the boxer, we do a boxer one that also has a soccer ball one. So you can do the kicking on the bottom part, and you have the boxer on the top. We actually sell a lot of those to the military, more for physical therapy, physical, involvement. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we just did a military base in New Mexico that we sent 15 boxers to their gym to, help them get in shape.
That's kind of surprising for me to hear. Just like Everything was like very commercial, and then suddenly military.
Oh yeah, no, we do the VA possibles for hand and eye therapy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you think about it, it makes sense.
Or what other things do you have for like the military aside from the boxing stuff?
So the military, we do a lot of their dorms, and then this basically just on the military, we're just offering systems that allows them to have more camaraderie, that they're all joining each other.
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing you mentioned before, and I definitely feel the same way, is just because we came from we started from different areas when we were younger, where gaming was more of we go to a friend's house, go to each other's house, sit on a couch, or go to the arcade. It's like more of like a community thing with physical contact. Now it's more of definitely more of an online and less interactive as before.
It's more online. It's just like cell phones. It loses the social environment because you're wearing your earphones on and you're talking to somebody in somewhere other areas. You're playing other people.
Mm-hmm.
The retro arcades, you're in an area that your friends are watching. You get high score. You're talking smack and you're socializing, and nobody's on the phone because they want to see what you're doing. So because of that, it creates a really neat environment, and that for me, I think that's my more pleasure is seeing people get off the phones, become more social, because the generation right now is less social because of the phone. I have a 26-year-old and a 32-year-old and two younger children. And my 26-year-old had a birthday party and they're all texting and chatting to each other, but nobody was talking. And I go, Brooke, why do you guys not get off your phones and talk to each other? And I got the look of death, but it's just how it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I know what you mean. It's just different generations have different ways of communication, and it's definitely very different from what we grew up from.
Yeah, but I think retros will bring back a lot of social skills, at least I'm hoping, and people want it. And a lot of corporate break rooms, we've done Google, Facebook, Amazon, they all have the machines in their break room.
Yeah, I think what I'm noticing with my daughter too is that when I'm letting her play games that require the tactile like buttons, like just the old school kind of like retro handhelds even, she's developing a better sense of like the hand-eye coordination rather than just touching stuff on the screen. And I think like that's a good reason for retro to come back, like just
big time. I totally agree.
Yeah. But
what's weird is these kids know how to play. Like when my 4-year-old first played my machine, she already knew how to play Pac-Man because of the phone. She'd grab her mom's phone and play.
Oh yeah, mine too. At I think 3, she was playing Pac-Man already. So yeah, it's pretty impressive, like to see like how quickly they adapt to like with all these things, especially growing up in the newer technology side, but then being able to adapt with like the old stuff, which is a little bit more like the in between step of hand-eye coordination. But it seems to be pretty cool that that's like a skill they develop too as they're doing the retro stuff. But yeah, we're almost coming up on time, and I just wanted to ask if you can kind of share more about just how to reach out to Creative Arcades or to you if people had questions, and just let us know about where are you guys, all of that stuff,
Yeah, so we're on all your social media platforms. Our website is www.creative-arcades.com. My email, and anybody feel free to email me and I get right back to you. It's brianh@creative-arcades.com. For us, we love being involved with our customers, and we're if you're ever in Fountain Valley, come by and stop by, see our facility, and love to kind of share what we're doing and how we're trying to bring jobs back here and make things here. And I'm the old guy, I have a young crew, and they get to play arcades for a living, so it's pretty awesome.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, I'll be putting that information in the show notes too, for anyone who's interested in checking out the website. And you guys take orders everywhere, so it seems it's not limited, it's just locally, so that's great.
Yeah, we're all over the world actually. We're in North America, we do stuff in Japan, Mexico, Canada's a big spot too.
Awesome. Well, to be respectful of your time, just want to say thank you again for being on the podcast and just sharing a little bit more about Creative Arcades and also about your journey in the business.
I appreciate you guys are great to talk with, and anything I could do to help drive people towards your links, feel free to share to us or ask us. We'll help. It's a partnership. We like to partner with people.
I love Power Glove.
Come with me if you want to live.
I love Power Glove.
No time for time travel.